Hello, this is the oncoming storm, and today I'm going to do a tier list on traits. I have a few things I want to say before I start. First off, no one that I know of is even at max level. So, that being said, what traits are going to be best in the end could shift from what's good now. None of us can say for a fact this is the absolute best tier list, because the traits are tough. The traits take a little more work, but it is the most common question I get about my champions. Which traits do you use? Why do you use them? Who has what? And it changes. So, without any ado much at all, there are traits that are just bad, that I think aren't going to do good. There are traits that are excellent up until you get to about level 300, after which you can let those go. And I'll make it real simple for you. The static traits, like athletic, are the ones that I'm talking about. And there are traits that are only good if you're going to be putting them in a district. If you have a district champion, as you can see, this one is a district champion, you are never going to get rid of either of their leadership traits. You want confident and you want noble. So we're not even going to include those in the tier list. They are the only option to increase your districts, period. Alright, now that I've had that said, here we go. And for any of you who need to know, I use tiermaker.com so that I have something fairly easy to look at. Now, let's cover if you're looking at fighting. Any of your champions that are involved, we're going to throw them down here. Confident. Bestial. Yes, I put bestial as an F trait. I think it is useless. If you want to run a sustained team, a percentage of your strength for restoration of your constitution is not ideal. I think it is a zero tier, a non-useful trait. Athletic. Athletic is a D tier trait, but it's an S tier trait below level 250. You simply cannot make up what this gives you at that level. You want the best at the lower levels. You want the static boosts. Brutal, and the percentage boosts only become better once you have a number that's worth multiplying. So we can throw healthy here. These aren't what I'm putting in the D tier. It's not because they're bad. They're going into the D tier because they come to a point where they stop being good. Personally, I feel like hexproof is a useless trait. I know there are some people who would disagree. I feel like cutthroat is too. I just don't feel like they're good. The ones that I'm putting into F tier for battle are just that. They're F tier on your battle team. Noble and confident, like I said before, are for your district team. And they are S tier. Only traits that are good on your district team members. So what you want to be doing is when you're getting your traits to move over, you want to get noble and confident on every single primary member of your district teams. It's just that simple. Pure Heart. Pure Heart's a tough one. It really is a question of, do you need something to help you clear buffs, clear debuffs, while you're still able to attack? The debuffs that are going to cause you the most problems are almost always ones that stop you from attacking. So, my opinion, this is a low tier, if ever useful, trait. Scrappy gets a little bit of a personal attention one. It is a static trait, which would mean that it's only good till about level 300, in my opinion. Now, that being said, I am not convinced Fortitude does a single thing. I have not seen it make a difference in any fights. I think either Fortitude is broken, or it's such a weak trait that it shouldn't even be considered. So we're back to, what do we do with that? Well, I'm throwing Scrappy on the pile. It's not even going into my static traits. Tenacious. I don't like Tenacious. Tenacious only impacts 10 seconds of your game. Right at the beginning. Now, there are people who would argue that that goes against the burst meta. But my position is, I want to be dishing out damage. I want to be doing it through the whole fight, not for 10 seconds. It's just not good. I told you, I'm not impressed with Fortitude, so don't be surprised when I toss its percentile buff down here on the bottom pile as well. That leaves us with, please note, these are the common traits at this point. Most of them got binned. Out of that, my personal opinion, there is nothing better than Brutal, period. There's, for every unit, except for female Lionstone and female Sallyhorn, you want Strength. Strength will boost something they do. Now, it may not be the best for all of them, but in my personal opinion, you can't do better than Brutal. You can't. Now, for your DPS units, please note, Brutal is not a question of, is it a DPS unit top tier, or a tank unit top tier, or an assassin unit top tier. It is the top tier common trait in the entire game. Period. Now, I believe, and it doesn't get the love that it should, that Honorable is A tier. Honorable at level 22 negates 25% of their total damage being done to your unit. Please hear that. It's 25% of the total damage. So, Honorable is the only defensive trait that protects you from true damage. And yes, there are more than one unit that uses true damage. Female Travaine hits with true damage. Male Strixbane hits with true damage. That's designed to ignore your health, your benefits, your fortitude, your whatever else. And like I said, I don't feel like fortitude's working very well. But honorable, I think, is superior way to help reduce damage on units that you want to keep alive. If you can't generate the damage to burst everyone down, and sometimes that's a problem, being able to survive to keep doing more damage is the next best thing. I am a DPS player. I play mages, I play snipers, I play assassins, I play archers in every game I play. I believe, deep in my heart, that dishing out damage is more important than holding back the other team's damage. It is quite often that I lean towards the glass cannon meta, and that this game hugs and embraces a burst mage glass cannon meta. I love it. That's my thing. That's where I go. But you know what? That's not the only playstyle available. So even though there are some traits, like I said, I don't like all of these, not because I'm just a burst mage groupie. I've been in burst mages always. Like, that's where I go. Alright. Survivability. The other thing that's worth having beyond level 300 is energetic. You're having trouble keeping your players alive. You need energetic and honorable are where you should be looking. They're both A-tier traits. That's all I have to say on that. I don't believe that the Constitution bonus is necessary quite all that often, but for the players who want it, these two traits, honorable and energetic, are where it's at. Fortitude just is not good in my personal opinion. My testing is not showing that out. And I'm not hearing anybody out here showing me any numbers that prove otherwise. So, we toss fortitude. We're in the top tier. Everybody. Your male lion stone. I mean, everybody should have brutal. And it should be the top tier brutal. Now, if your unit is dishing out any damage, and I mean any damage, if it's dishing out damage as part of your unit, it's one of your DPSers, if it's your nukers, if it's your assassins, if it's your mages, fierce is also a top tier trait. And yes, I guess that's where I go, because fierce and brutal should both be on every one of your DPS mages, should be on every one of your DPS characters. That's my position. That's where I stand with this. So where do we end up? Athletic and healthy are good. Level 300. For your common traits, really there's 4 that you should be hunting for your game beyond mid-range. Anything above level 300. Honorable, energetic, brutal, and fierce. Those are the ones that are worth watching. Remember, confident and noble are part of your end game too. You're collecting them for your district. In my personal opinion, the only clan trait, well, there are two. The only clan trait that you need for every single unit, whether tank, DPS, or anything else, except for male Lionstone, is Agile. At level 22, which, by the way, is only acquirable via the companion process, taking the Trevane companion up to 17,001 intimacy. Increases the attack speed of your units by 30%. At 30%, it's getting you an extra attack in between each of your timed active attacks. It's that simple. In my opinion, and you can see it right in my main team, it doesn't matter which unit you look at, female Trevane, female Lume, everybody has Agile. I rely on it. I find it very, very strong. Beyond that, the only other clan trait that I push for on my DPS units is aggressive. For those of you who don't know, aggressive is the Tidestorm trait.
I will make them fear.
It is the Tidestorm class trait. At no point does the Tidestorm trait give you more than 20% strength. The speed with which you acquire that strength is the only thing that changes as the trait goes up. This is the common one. Every attack takes it up 0.5% to a 20%. Should you boost that? Yes. Is it necessary to boost that for it to be a good trait for your units? No. You can be a top tier player on those units. Yes, for those of you who are curious, I am still free to play. And yes, I am doing fairly well. Yes, I spend a good bit of time on the game. So I've tested a number of these other traits. But when it comes to clan trait movement, I don't feel like there's a whole lot more here that needs attention. There are good ones. But for most of your stuff that you need to know for building your team, your DPS units, you give them Agile, you give them Fierce, you give them Brutal, and I give them Aggressive. That's how I build my teams. You'll see, it's the same thing. I have found this to be the most effective way to build up my units. It's been effective in Valley of Conquerors. It's been effective for going through campaign. It's been effective for doing dungeon descent. My advice to you is that if you're below level 300, You work on getting athletic, and you build. I didn't even, the vigor system was not in place when I was leveling. So, you have some additional bonuses given through vigor to work on your traits early. If you're looking for endgame, my advice for your DPS is just that. Build up fierce, build up a companion that's pushing you level 22 traits. Watch a marriage video that makes sense to you. I highly recommend my Wedded Bliss event video, which will help you not only understand how to mix the traits, move the traits, and do this, that you're guaranteed to get the traits you want once you've gotten the right trait on a common hero. It also makes it very simple to understand how the cross-server event works. Female Lionstone. She's a separate issue. Remember, none of her traits, none of her skills, not one, works on her strength. She's really, everything about her is her ultimate. Alright. This has been The Oncoming Storm. I hope this helps.